Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Mushit. I'm a reporter here at the Western Standard, and today our guest is Dr. Sylvain Charlebois, also known as the food professor. He runs the agri-food lab at Dalhousie University, and he's going to talk to us today about a survey he recently published on his Substack, talking about how Canadians feel about food inflation. So thank you for joining us today, Dr. Sylvain Charlebois. How are you doing today?
Very good, very good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah, so why don't you just start out by telling audiences what the survey was about?
Well, every now and then, every 6 months, we actually survey 3,000 Canadians and we ask them questions about a variety of different things, food related, of course. And one of the things that we actually ask Canadians is what they do at the grocery store or what they don't do at the grocery store. So, of course, we do ask them how they see food prices behaving right now, and right now, 81% of Canadians actually do see food prices as being the one of the main issues that they see when managing their budget. And so 81% is the highest percentage we've seen in 3 years. And so that's pretty high, even with lodging, rent, insurance, daycare, all of these things are have lower percentages. And 34% of Canadians have actually claimed that they're using savings to pay for food. Again, that's a very, very high number. We haven't seen that before.
Wow. Okay. So first question I have is, do you guys take note of any of the demographics by chance? Because I would also want to know of the 81%, is there like an age range that people are saying are being impacted the most according to the people surveyed?
It's a good question. I actually just got the results and wrote the Substack article about it. So I haven't really looked at demographics, but I think you raise a good point. We may actually see some differences between age groups, for example, and even with regionality, with different parts of the country, we may actually see different results there.
Interesting. Okay, well, I would be curious to know when you do get to see those results. But also, I guess since you were talking about you've never seen the 34% reaching into their savings or going into debt to purchase their groceries. What was it like? Do you remember the stats for last year for that same number? What was the stats for that?
I think it was actually below 70%. And so, of course, food inflation was already a problem at the time, but it wasn't even close to 80%. So it's quite high. And obviously, with that perception, you see different behaviors at the grocery store, things that people are doing. And in fact, we just saw this week results from Dolorama. You can tell that Dolorama is getting more business when it comes to food sales because of food inflation. People are avoiding expensive stores, expensive items. And so they flock discount banners and dollar stores as well, which is something we really wouldn't have thought of just a few years ago. People are avoiding expensive brands as well. They're looking for privately labeled products. They're using more coupons, of course, and most importantly, and this is the one thing that we've actually noticed, is that they are more and more Canadians are actually visiting new stores to actually get to different discounts.
Okay, on that point as well, I'd be interested to know, what about Costco? Is there an increase in people going to Costco? Because I think you said something about more people buying in bulk as well, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Now there is a cost to go to Costco. Obviously, there's a
mm,
membership fee there, but Costco is incredibly busy. The thing about Costco Canada is that I'd say probably every 5 years, probably 10, 15, 20 years ago, you saw Costco opening up a store every 5 years. Now it's like two a year in Canada. They're about to open up store number 119. I believe it's in Edmonton. And we are expecting more stores to open up in the GTA area in Ontario. And so just just that you can tell that there's more demand for Costco, but we don't know for sure that people are actually, what's the actual number in terms of sales, because Costco makes its money by selling memberships. They don't
Mhm.
necessarily make money by with margins. They just go with volume in particular. It's a very different model. It's a wholesaler, not a retailer.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I also wanted to ask you about one point that you made. I wanted to know what your thoughts are on this. Okay, so you called this new kind of food insecurity in Canada gradual erosion of quality, choice, and dietary diversity. And so would you say this is like kind of a Canadian invention? Like has there ever been
Well,
anything like this before?
I mean, I do think that there is going to be a shift. So we've been talking a lot about food insecurity, obviously, or food affordability. But the thing about food insecurity, acute food insecurity, is that you're basically forcing households to actually make nutritional compromises. So I think the shift will be so the discussion will go from talking about food security to nutrition security. So the quality of food being bought or the quality of food being avoided as well. So for example, instead of buying nutritious products, you may end up just buying calories, and that makes a big difference.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So
Another question
I
I
kind of
have.
I kind of like the way you. It's not, well, it's a Canadian invention. It's not really a Canadian invention because we've gone through wars and things like that. So when
Oh,
when
yeah, yeah.
when societies impoverish themselves, you tend to see that people will eat out of a can or will actually eat more processed foods. They're more shelf stable, they're cheaper, but they're not as nutritious.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, because yeah, when some country is going through war or something, yeah, you definitely see that. But since this is like what I'm thinking about as well is like how much regulatory policies Canada has. Um,
Oh, absolutely. I
yeah.
mean, I
Mm,
know of many companies in Canada that actually only do business in the US because it's much easier to get approval to sell a certain food product in the US. It's a matter of weeks you can get approvals. While in Canada, you can wait months and months. And when you have tight margins and not a whole lot of cash flow, if you're starting up or you're trying to scale up, it's really not something you don't have the luxury of time. And so that's why it's always been extremely difficult to scale up companies in Canada as a result.
hmm, wow. Well, I also wanted to ask, is this food inflation that we're experiencing now, is this indications of a recession? I guess going back to history, has it been a pattern in the past where one of the first things we see is this high spike in food inflation?
Well, it depends how governments react. The more a government will print money and inject money into the system, the more likely you'll see a recession because things get more expensive. Everything gets more expensive, and we tend to see that, like the grocery benefit program that we saw a few weeks ago. That's exactly that, and so that was certainly was a step in the wrong direction. So if provinces and the federal government actually stop doing that, then yes, we have a chance of avoiding a recession. Manitoba is announcing today that it's actually stopping. It will actually take out the PST at the grocery store, which is certainly good news. You want to reduce taxes. You want to reduce the fiscal burden on people and not increase it due to monetary and fiscal policies.
Oh, okay. On that Manitoba point, I guess I remember you talking about this before about how when the federal government did their tax break, grocery stores increased their prices as a result. That's how it worked, right?
Yeah, good memory. So it's called opportunistic pricing. So whenever, like, if you actually take out a tax temporarily, you'll see the private sector or retailers grab that void temporarily. Even though it's temporarily, they'll actually do that. So it is now that we're measuring the impact of opportunistic pricing a year later after the GST holiday. And so, yes, people saw the break last year, but what we're seeing now is how much more food became. And now it's no surprise that Canada has the highest food inflation rate among G7 countries. If you take out the effects of the GST holiday a year ago.
Wow. Okay. So I would like to know, do you think that the federal government would ever do something similar again?
Uh, I think to eliminate the GST temporarily is much worse than to leave it there.
Hmm.
So what I argued to Senate in Ottawa last year was, if you actually remove the GST, do it permanently. It will actually it won't distort market conditions as much. The worst thing you can do is actually take it out temporarily, which is exactly what they did.
Oh, is it because like so then they'll increase the grocery stores will increase prices and then on top of that there'll be another GST?
And then when the tax comes back, it's slapped on higher prices. You do not want to
Um,
do that.
right. That doesn't
Yeah.
sound wise.
I mean, Stephen
Okay.
Harper, when he was prime minister, he actually reduced the GST by 1% permanently um, in 2006 and 2008 by 1%. It was 7%. Now it's down to 5%. And people felt, well, inflation will drop. It actually went up because of opportunistic pricing, but things stabilized afterwards. And so that's what
Oh.
you want to do. So you'll see a bit of a bump at the beginning, but you'll see right now what you're seeing is basically the end of the GST holiday. There was a bump during the holiday.
Mhm.
And now, of course, you're seeing more issues affecting the food supply chain with higher prices.
So that stabilization, if it were to happen, that is usually like a year afterwards? What's the timeline on that?
That's when you can measure it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. It's
Well,
hard to measure in real time, but it's a year later when you compare year to year, you can
mm,
tell what happened to food prices. If you compare, say, Canadian prices with American prices or prices in Europe, typically food inflation tends to be a global problem all at once.
yeah.
And you could see that Canada was really is a case study on its own right now.
Yes. Well, okay. That's all the questions I had. Unless you have anything else to add, feel free.
No, I think we've covered plenty. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, thank you very much for joining me today, Sylvan. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Um, Thank you. Thank you. Okay. If you guys enjoyed this video at all, you should definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, you should check out our actual website where we obviously have a ton of news. That's what we do. So it's westernstandard.news. You can subscribe for $10 a month or $100 a year, which is definitely a bargain. So you should do that. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.